Okay, guys, I'm Dan the Man, aka Dan the Son, and we're talking Mayans MC Season 3, Episode 4. Spoilers. So, we're going deep into this episode. This is a solid episode. I didn't give my straight rating for my non-spoiler review, but I give this a solid 8 out of 10 episode. But I think everybody, right from the get-go, we're going to just dive into it. This is unedited. This is my thoughts. I literally just watched it right now. So we're going to dive right into it, not in particular order. But before we do, new people who are watching this, please subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate it. I have Mayan MC content, and I also have other content on this channel, including movie reviews, TV reviews, anime reviews, you name it. But mostly, we got some Mayan stuff. So let's get right into it. I called it. I said it was Montez. A lot of people were saying it can't be Montez because of his body type and his body. He's a little big, chunkier, bigger guy. Montez ain't a skinny guy, man. Montez is a little bit chunky, and right when he gets into that kind of like barn house, I was like, that's Montez, because Montez is a little bit chunky there. So let's talk about it, right? Montez is dead. Another SOA member is dead, and it's really obvious that Paulo, if you think about why he was on Taza's bike, it was Paulo's doing, right? Paulo wanted to put Montez on Taza's bike, and he's really setting up this war. Even Montez mentions it in this episode, like, Mayans and Sons have history. We're not trying to start a war. Paulo wants that. He not only wants he knows that he doesn't have the crew anymore. So who does he have to get to bid his doing, like Palpatine or whatever? He has to get the SOA members, basically. We also get a lot of reveals in this episode. So it was Montez's cousin, I believe Tommy. A lot of people were still wondering, like, was it really his cousin or was it somebody else? But that was the other dead SOA member, which is a shame. It would have been nice if they actually had, like, if it was such a big cliffhanger, it would have been nice if it was somebody we kind of knew and cared about. But we don't really know who, like, there might be new members in the SOA club, or you just don't know who's in the lineup. You know the main players, but you don't know if there's anybody new in the lineup. So Montez and Paulo. So I call it the interaction episode because there's a lot of interactions I really enjoyed in this episode. With Montez and Paulo, that was definitely one of the interactions. I knew that was going to go down south. Very stupid of Montez has turned his back. You never turn your back, especially even if you are like, you're cool with the guy. It's a very heated situation. There's a lot of tension. Don't turn your back. Don't turn your back and look. Why are you looking for money? Like, you just look at him while you're looking at your money, while you're digging through your wallet. So Montez is dead. It's not Gilly. I mean, you could tell by the gloves he was wearing and just the overall clothes he was wearing that it was going to be Montez. But this sets up huge ramifications. Huge setup for future episodes. Not the next episode. I think the next episode is going to be all about Bishop's plan, and we'll get to that in a moment. But this sets up a lot. This sets up a lot of ideas for war, right? I mean, I've said that this is going to be a crazy ass season because you have one son who is dead, right? And that was Montez's cousin. It doesn't matter. He still was a son. He still was an SOA, Sam Crow member. But now you have Montez, he's patched up. He's regarded. He answers the chibs. Like, he's a huge member of the club, and we known him from Sons of Anarchy. Now he's dead. They're gonna come looking. Happy gave him that warning, and this is all bad. I mean, watching this episode, I felt like the Mayans crew, Bishop's crew. It felt like a punched in the stomach before even the reveal of Montez's death. You could just tell when Montez is talking to Taza and saying, "I need you, brother. I need you more than ever. I need you to, be sharp." Like, just something with that dialogue, and then the dialogue with him and Easy early on. Like, it really feels like this club is headed to dangerous waters. It really feels like the last hurrah, where I think all of them could die at the end of the season. It just feels that way. It feels like I have a bad feeling about this. Obi-Wan's gonna die. But it was a great. So talking about Easy and Bishop's interaction, I really love that interaction because, you know, Easy goes and talks to Alicia, who's in prison. She doesn't talk. She kind of lets out a hint that it was Vicky, which I'm super surprised. Easy did not tell Bishop that, like, Vicky. I didn't see it. I didn't have the captions on, so I didn't hear him tell Bishop, like, Alicia said Vicky paid her a visit. So that's a bad move on Easy. Why wouldn't he tell him? You know, he's fucked up this whole thing. He didn't necessarily fuck up the whole thing, but he set up this plan, and Bishop is not happy with him or Angel because Angel's not at the club. We'll get to that in a minute. So I do like that dialogue between the two. Like I said in my non-spoiler review, the cinematography in that particular scene was beautifully done. I love the last kind of jab at Easy when Bishop says, "Easy, fuck off." Bishop is hands down probably my favorite character of the Mayan MC. I just really love his attitude and how he deals with, you know, with all these guys, even though he's so unhinged and he's breaking down. He's going to lead these guys to death, man. It just feels that way. And because you see him with Pena. So the next morning, last episode, the next morning, he wakes up. Pena's wife is not having it. She's so pissed. Every time he shows up at this date, and we get a little reveal that this date is an anniversary, of course. Pena and him talk about, you know, Marcus and his wife and how they're still together and how they're not together, the past, this and that, and she's trying to move on from the past. And what is that past? They name drop. So I forgot the name of what they said, but it sounded like they had a son at some point, and this is the anniversary of his death. That's what it really feels like, because they say, no, fuck, Bishop says, fuck us as a couple, but I'm not letting you off the hook. This is the anniversary of so-and-so. So, like, I'm pretty sure they had a son together. So that's, I think a lot of people were thinking that, and everybody was absolutely right. We said that, me and Taylor, on a breakdown prediction. So, I think that's what it is. Everybody keeps mentioning this anniversary, and I think that's what it is. I mean, it's such a big anniversary. You would think it'd be, you know, like his son or something like that. So Bishop is so unhinged. Bishop is leading the troops to their death, in my opinion. I know some of them will probably come out of this, but man, I just have a bad feeling. I just have an absolute bad feeling, especially Bishop his back is against the wall. And then he comes up with this plan, right? He says, fuck the future, we're going back to the past. And the past is basically crossing, I believe, a bridge, and doing it the old ways. But the problem with crossing that bridge, is that now there's such high, you know, they used to do that in the past, but now you have drones. It's a suicide mission, Suicide Squad. I mean, it's a bad idea. Everybody's telling them it's a bad idea, but what other choice do they have? And he says, if you guys have any other ideas, it looks like Easy too. Like, you have another idea, motherfucker? No, we're doing this plan. So, it's a suicide mission. I think they're going to succeed, though. Maybe not. I think they'll succeed, though. I think we have like half a season left, so I think they'll succeed this plan. So that, like I said, they still have a little bit of time. They're not fucked completely. I mean, Marcus doesn't really necessarily know yet. The Kings don't know yet. So I did say that, you know, they had a little bit of time, and it was revealed they have a little bit of time. Their backs are really against the wall, but they have time. So let's get into the interactions, right? So that was another interaction. Another interaction I really like is actually Hank and Nails. Hank really wants to nail Nails. I love that. You go, Hank. You go. You're my boy. You do your thing. And then you also have Gilly with Coco. I was getting sick and tired of Gilly always asking Coco, "Are you okay? You cool, man?" And then him talking to him finding out about Coco and his little drug problem finally, and he says, "You know what, we're done." Gilly telling Coco we're done. That was really short, right? So there's definitely, oh man, there's gonna some shit that might go down between those two. I thought it was a little weird when Gilly drove Coco, and Coco was Steve Steve's there. Steve tells Coco that he has visitors, and it's the gypsy guy, and then it's Butterfly or whatever, Snowflake, whatever his name is. It's Butterfly. And then they pretty much they reveal that their plan is to get seems like a brick, right? Pretty much some heroin. Coco has to steal from his own boys, his own MC, and give to this guy, or this shit is going to be exposed everywhere. I think the main gypsy guy did say there's a little hint that he is an SOA member when he said that we know about the Brotherhood, right? It seems like he knew what kind of Brotherhood Coco is in, like, because he's in that same thing with SOA. I don't know yet. That hasn't really properly been revealed just yet. The dude's crazy, though. The dude is crazy. And so Coco is really in a bad spot. They give him a little bit of, what was it? I think it was Coke. They give him Coke to kind of like, make sure you just kind of level him up a little bit. So I think Coco's storyline in this episode was the least most compelling, even though there's a lot of B stories going on, and he's one of them. I think that will be more compelling maybe in the next couple of episodes. This was more of like kind of a setup. I just think the execution of why wouldn't Gilly go with Coco? Why didn't Steve say shit, even though Steve's a fuck up? I just felt like that whole scene was a little odd how the setup was, so the execution could have been done better right there. And then also the interactions between Gabby and Felipe are still wonderful. They're delightful. I love the play that they have. I'm so happy Gabby didn't ask what happened to Ezekiel's mother or anything, because you see that all the time. You're like, just let it go, just have this nice little moment between you two, and it was great. And Gabby looking fine as hell, looking fine, especially when she's dancing. Oh yeah, that's a Dan the Man dance, copyright infringement. So I like that, and I liked how Felipe went back to his meat shop. I love the scene where he opens it and all the meat is rotten, and he calls her up and like, hey, I need your help. And I love how he says, like, the maids were too expensive, you're the cheapest one. And she's like, well, I don't look that bad either. I love the dialogue between Felipe and Gabby is fire. So let's get into Angel and Adelita. This was the interaction I really wanted to see. It wasn't a lot. I thought there would be a little bit more screen time between these two actors. I think they do a great job. There is a little bit of chemistry there too. Adelita tells Angel straight up the baby's dead. We know the baby's not dead. The baby's with Potter. She just tells Angel, the baby's dead. There's love there, but then there's friction, of course. You see the scars on Adelita's wrist. You see Angel wanting to like have Adelita open up, and Adelita straight up tells the story about, because remember in the last season she was being protected. She was at that little brothel. Was it Vicky's house? I think it was at Vicky's house. I can't remember, even though I rewatched the whole season. She tells the story how she was in a brothel when she was younger, and she slit her own throat, and when she was with Potter she wanted to do the same thing. So that was a pretty dark and deep story, but I do like her opening her layers. I just think this Angel and Adelita, there needs to be more screen time. There needs to be more of that, right? There needs to be more of openness, because I want to know how the hell did these even two hook up? I mean, sure, they're sexually attracted to each other, but where is that love, if there is any? And you can see that a little bit that he does care, and of course he cares about the baby. I do love the line where he says, "Was our baby beautiful?" That hits hard for me being a dad of myself. So it's I want to see more of this interaction. I do like the shots, the parallels when she's in the shower sitting down, and then you go and the camera swoops and you see Angel sitting down. When they're sitting on the bed, you see his big tattoo. She's sitting right next to him. They're both kind of naked, right? And but they're both right there. It's more intimate, it's more caring than maybe like Angel and Nails, but you go Hank. So I enjoy that aspect. Now this might be a little controversial. I might get a little flack for this, but I gotta be honest with you guys. I thought the Ezekiel and Gabby dinner date, and it's so funny too because I always forget that he's in an RV. He's living in an RV, and it's he's been there like the whole 3 seasons. It's cool because that's like, you kind of relate to him. You like that, you like how he's cooking his dinner, making his coffee. It's just, for one, and then he goes to his dad's house most of the time. But so Ezekiel brings Gabby to his RV, and they're gonna have dinner. She's gonna make him something, and like I said, I like the setups from the beginning of the episode, and it leads to something like towards the end, towards the second half of the episode. Ezekiel not listening to music like Felipe, Ezekiel having this little OSD kind of thing, or whatever. He's fixing up the paintings and stuff. And then, of course, Gabby finding out, like, okay, you only have one fork and one pan. However, I think this was the scene that should have been edited the most. I think you don't need these extra little moments between the two. I know a lot of people like these two, and I like this couple. I think they're cute. I was actually waiting, like, are you gonna, like, I know damn well, Ezekiel, you're not gonna play this that slow. I know you're gonna go in there, and you guys are gonna make it. You guys already kissed, so I think dinner, yeah, sure. So I was waiting for like that moment, like, this is taking too long. This is way too much of the director, Elgin James, trying to really like bring this Shakespearean romance together, But I do feel like it should have been cut. I felt like some of the stuff should have been cut. The paintings, even though how it was cute, or the pictures, even though it was cute, him fixing it and stuff. And I just felt like this should have been a better edit on that. Now, when they're making out and then the flashbacks hit, which I said in my non-spoiler review, I really like the flashbacks that was used with Ezekiel, especially with Alicia. It's really brutal, but quickly done, but really done solid. And it's really great. Those flashbacks are not as comical. They don't really showcase Easy's face too much. Like, so you're not like there like, oh my God, he looks the same. Like, he should be like a teenager. Like, it makes sense. The brutality of when he was in prison is getting to him. So we do get the flashbacks back, but they did it at the proper time, and they did it. They did a good job with it. Now, it was super weird though. So they're making out. Of course he has the flashbacks, and then, Gabby. I love Gabby's character where she just goes like, "Where did you go? Where did you go? Tell me." She wants to know more about Ezekiel. Now, what I didn't like was the fact that Gabby's like, she was so put off by that he won't tell her anything. She wants to go home. She says, maybe I'm not the one for you. Like, I don't know. Seeing Gabby throughout the whole season, and then even a little bit last season, I don't think she does that. I don't think she leaves. I think she stays and they actually eat. So I didn't like how that whole thing ended. It just didn't feel believable to me. It didn't really feel right with Gabby's character, especially how much of a strong woman and how much she could really get these Reyes boys in check and really have them open up. So the parallels she's able to do, I mean, it makes sense for Ezekiel because, he still has those memories. I guess it makes sense that he's not ready to, like, that's why he hasn't been with a lot of women, because he's just like, he's still kind of has that prison mindset. He just got out of, not just got out, but he's been out of prison for just a little bit. So he's not adapting to the world as much. And it's kind of hinted when he talks to Alicia, and Alicia says, well, when I come out, because Ezekiel tells him, shut that shit down. You're not a mom, this and that. When you're in there, you got to be cold hearted. But she's like, well, how do I switch that back on when I'm free? That's the same with Ezekiel. How does he switch that back? It did feel a little bit like out of left field, especially that should have been introduced maybe earlier on. Even through the first 2 seasons, even if maybe it was hinted a little bit, but it should have been developed a little bit better. So like I said, the execution, it just could have been better. And I felt like the scene between Gabby and Ezekiel, that could have been cut, and you could have focused on something else a little bit. I get it. You want the mindset of Ezekiel, but I just don't feel like in Gabby's character, she would necessarily do that. So, just kind of like be put off by that, and then they have like this little mini, not even a fight, but she's just like, I want to go home. Like, I just don't see Gabby's character doing that, even though it's Gabby's character, it's Elgin James's show, but I just don't see it. So that was another good one. So Miguel or another good one. That one's the one. It was good, but it was good, and it was with Ezekiel and Gabby. So with Miguel though, Miguel still super unhinged. I think this plot is gonna be more compelling later on, but in my back of my head, I'm like, why is he not seeing Felipe? If he's like really kind of going after and wanting to know, and he's brokenhearted, which I totally get. We have little ones when we lose them, it's just absolutely devastating, and you're just not there. But you think he would go see Felipe, since she spend most of the time with Felipe, and we haven't gotten that yet. Emily tries to, just make store, Dita's stuff, just get it out of the house. And Miguel was not having it. He was pissed. And then also he meets the governor, and her comrades get killed. This was a little bit of the slow. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like it was there, but luckily they didn't spend too much time with Miguel and the governor, and Miguel and Emily, especially when Miguel is like yelling at Emily, and the son's right there, which I was like, damn, you're a dick, Miguel. You are absolutely dick. And the sister has to come and save the day. I do think so. When the dialogue, the interaction between Miguel and the governor, that dialogue, I really felt like they really saw Narcos, and it felt like the same storyline with Pablo Escobar and the news woman he was having an affair with. Very similar. Very similar tone. She's fed up with Miguel because, her own comrades were dead, and she had to tell their families that, this happened, and she's sleeping with a man that is in this world, right? Which did she expect? So, but it really it made me go back and think about the whole affair and the devastation that happened between Pablo Escobar and the newswoman. And then that one doesn't end well, because the newswoman he's having an affair with ends up getting killed by these rebels. And it just sounds very similar with that when they were talking and that whole storyline. So a little bit too much Narcos. I mean, when I say I want it to be Narcos, I say I want the tone to be that, and the violence to kind of be like that, to be the realism. But when it comes to like that kind of storyline, I could live without it. So there was that. And then we have, there's a lot to digest in this episode. So I think their plan is going to succeed. Their new plan of getting the drugs over the border. I think that's going to happen. Oh, let's talk about Vicky, I guess. So Vicky, I'm not shocked how she died. I'm absolutely same with Montez. I wasn't shocked when he died. So Vicky, but I thought that execution was great. So I liked how Steve goes and tries to get Vicky to go to back to the house, or the clubhouse where Bishop is waiting, and then she goes underneath the tunnels, and she got her duffel bag basically probably full of money, turns on the light, Creeper's right there, because in the earlier episode, of course, Creeper and Taza were in the tunnels, and they got to get prepared to move the shipment out. I love going back to the old woman. I'm super surprised though. I don't know why I didn't remember, or I don't know if they showcased it, but Creeper doesn't speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, so I can relate. I like the little interaction Taza and Creeper have, and then Creeper trying to get some food, paying the money. But the shot where Creeper's just standing there and Vicky is turning on the light, that was freaking great. It really reminded me of a horror movie, right? And then Creeper's like, Vicky, and Vicky's just trying to speak, and then boom, just no hesitation, Taza takes her out. And I know Taza and her were close, and of course Riz, but beautiful. Great execution. Love that scene. That was brutal, quick. That's exactly how things happen like that. It kind of reminded me of the movie The Irishman, where the Irishman's deaths were quick like that. It's really realistic. So great stuff. I thought that was handled really well. It's Vicky. Vicky called, the police, so you got to take her out. And I think Alicia has to be taken out at some point. I don't care. I think Bishop heard what Ezekiel said, that it wasn't her. But take her out anyway. You can't leave loose ends like that. So that was another particular great scene. So this episode was solid. It was a solid episode. There's a lot to digest. There's a lot of like kind of reveals here. There's definitely, we get answers to from the promo, like that was Montez's death. There was a lot of storyline. There's a little bit of a storyline that was, shut with Vicky. There's more. I love seeing Paulo. Anytime Paulo comes in, he just has that villainous look, and he's a straight villain. He's a great villain. He's playing mind games with Taza, which I absolutely love. So Montez is gone. The ramifications of this, they got two Sam Crow members, or two crows basically dead. It's insane. And then we did get a little bit of Montez and Paulo, when them talking about the sweet deal that they had. Like Montez was double dipping, but it just seemed like that was a little bit glossed over a little bit, and I was kind of a little disappointed on that he was just double dipping. I thought it'd be a little bit more. But it was a solid episode. It wasn't too crazy. It was the pacing was okay. I just feel like it should have been edited more. There's the interactions were great. Like I said, call it the interaction episode. But solid stuff. It was the cinematography just really captured my eye this time around, especially with the interactions that were happening. So good. It was good stuff, man. It was good stuff. And I look forward to the next episode. I think they're going to succeed in a run. Yeah, but I think Marcus is probably going to still find out. So we'll see. Thank you guys for listening. That was my spoiler talk of the Mayans MC Season 3, Episode 4. You can find more reviews on my channel if you're new to the channel. There's also other reviews. I talk TV, anime, movies, you name it, and I got it. I even got music in here. I will be doing a breakdown predictions video with Taylor this Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, so make sure you check on that. It'll be live, so you guys can comment, and we'll answer your comments, and we'll put down some of our predictions, which we got some of them right. We were right on a lot of them. So subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate that. Like the video because it helps the channel grow. And then also, yeah, just let me know your guys' thoughts on this episode. I would love to hear. I always reply, so I will reply to you guys. And I give this a solid 8 out of 10. It didn't reach 9, didn't reach 10. It's just a solid 8 out of 10. A little bit of predictability in here, but it was solid. There's little things I changed, but it was solid. So I'm done. Get this one. And let me see my stop button. Where is it? There it is. I am out of here.